So Kevin Durant is such an interesting, awesome player, an awesome character in the NBA. We all remember his early start in Seattle, and then they moved to Oklahoma City, and then he gets paired with, interestingly, James Harden, who he's now teammates again, but also Russell Westbrook. But they could never quite break through, and it's likely because they were young, and just a young team trying to figure it out. And superstars abound. James Harden, I think, was Sixth Man of the Year one of those years, but they didn't have championship DNA, and he gave it a run there. He stayed there for 9 years in Oklahoma City, and then when he became a free agent, he did what a lot of free agents do. He puts a premium on winning a championship. All started by LeBron James, as we remember, with the decision. And the only thing that rubbed people wrong about KD's decision is who he went to go win a championship with. And that was the Golden State Warriors, a team who he had just lost to after having a series lead in the Western Conference Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder. He bounces, goes to the Golden State Warriors, and we all know his history. He finally wins that elusive championship, and in the process wins 2 Finals MVPs. I mean, he was a stud. That team was well built. It was dynastic. They were one of the great teams to watch over the last decade because of how they played and the unselfish nature with which they played. And adding Kevin Durant was just, I mean, it was almost embarrassingly good how good they were. I mean, the fact that the Cleveland Cavaliers found a way to beat them one of those years is pretty astounding. But this is about KD. KD took in some people's minds, the easy road. And this was the conversation that BT and I were having on Monday. KD has never been in that situation where he's had to be the man. Now, he's been the man, but he hasn't had to be the man, right? When Klay Thompson is your running mate, and Steph Curry, the greatest shooter, especially three-point shooter in NBA history, is right there with you. Draymond Green, who is that glue guy, that antagonist who just coalesces a team, is on this squad as well. And by the way, you got Steve Kerr, who's turned out to be a fantastic head coach as well, all thrown into the pot and thrown out on the court. Of course you're going to win. It was almost like it was foregone. It was a little bit too easy. And some people use that as a knock on Kevin Durant. And it's justifiable. I believe that Kevin Durant, wanted to do what a lot of NBA players want, and that's to get a championship. So he took the easy road. I'll put that in quotes. It's not really easy, but he took the easy road. And interestingly, when he decided to leave the Golden State Warriors, he didn't want to go build something on his own and be the champion and build around me and take these young guys. No, he went to the Brooklyn Nets, where his buddy, Kyrie Irving, was waiting. They had a good supporting cast, because let's not forget, before Kyrie got there, this team was scrambling, good, not scrambling in a bad way, but scrambling in a good way. They had a hardness about them. They had a grittiness about them. They had some really good ancillary pieces, Joe Harris being one of them, even though he's been utterly invisible the last 3 games in this Milwaukee Bucks series. It's almost frustrating as a fellow UVA or a fellow Wahoo. But the team was really well built. And so adding Kevin Durant, it wasn't like he was challenging himself in any way. And then 8 games into this season, they trade for James Harden. So all of a sudden, Kevin Durant goes from this unbelievable, obviously he missed the year. Let's not forget, he missed the year because of the Achilles. But he goes from this unbelievable situation in Golden State all the way across the country to Brooklyn, and he's almost in a better situation because Kyrie is still young and athletic and one of the great point guards in the game. James Harden is an MVP. He leads the league in scoring. He's a great assister. He's a great rebounder. He's one of the most dynamic scorers that we've ever seen in this game. And KD is in this situation again. It's like, dude, are you ever going to have to work for what you want? I mean this relatively speaking, working to be the guy. And that was the question I asked BT on Monday, was if KD had to do it, and I don't know if we've seen this, if he had to go score 50, these were my exact words, if he had to go score 50, can KD just go score 50 and get it done? And, well, in game 5 against the Milwaukee Bucks, I stand not corrected because I didn't say that he couldn't, but he threw it in my face and said, yes, I can. Will you take 49 and 17 rebounds and 10 assists and 3 steals and 2 blocks? Will you take that? Is that good enough for you? This is a game where James Harden played, and God, you know what? Just a quick 30 on James Harden. This dude was basically walking on the court. I mean, I was shocked at the defense of the Bucks on how they were defending him. Like they were scared of him blowing by them. And I'm looking at him saying, he can't take 2 quick steps, much less drive past you to the rim. And yet some of the cases, he's just kind of walking around these guys and getting layups. And he didn't make very many shots, but he gutted out 46 minutes on the court. 46. He sat out for 2 minutes. He hasn't played in 3 games. He stayed out there for 46 minutes because he wanted to be the running mate with what Kevin Durant was putting on. So kudos to James Harden. I didn't think he should play. I thought he should have rested. Sometimes when you have that hamstring injury and it's not bad, but you feel it like catching a little bit, but not really pulling. And so you feel okay, but not great. Going out there and playing is sometimes the best thing to do because it makes you feel confident. It gets the blood flowing. It puts you in that situation again. And when you finish a game with a compromised muscle like that and you come through it okay, sometimes it propels you forward, almost in an odd way accelerates healing. I know that's not probably physiologically correct or even viable, but that's what it feels like. I only know this because I've done this a couple of times. So kudos, hats off to James Harden for gutting it out. But it pales in comparison to what Kevin Durant did. And as much as we can laud Kevin Durant for the afternoon that he had, the evening that he had, especially in the second half, so much of this falls on what Steve Nash decided to do. Late in this game, maybe late third quarter into the fourth quarter, we saw Kevin Durant do also what I didn't think he was capable of doing. That is be an elite facilitator. Be a guy who not only is handling the ball, bring it up the court, but dribble and driving and kicking and, going through traffic. I mean, he's 7'1". It's hard to dribble through traffic when you're 7'1", simply because the ball just comes up higher. But he had that like perfect lean. It was the dexterity and the elusiveness, getting to the rim and dishing to Jeff Green, who also had the game of the playoffs for a bench player, 27 points and 7 of 8 from 3-point range. He was on fire. Every time he got it kicked out to him, you almost knew that it was going down. But Kevin Durant took the challenge that I think a lot of people believed, as BT said, he always ran from. And I think there's something, there's an interesting thought here. So when you don't have to do it all, like when you know that there is a crutch, so to speak, well, there is another great player with you. There's something that if you should falter is going to catch you. It's you tend to fall to the lowest common denominator. You've heard that before, right? Like you go to the lowest common denominator. Well, with the way that this Brooklyn Nets team is structured, with superstars abound, and even the non-superstars like Joe Harris, when he's on, that can knock down shots and can drop 18 or 20 points on any given night, especially if he's getting open looks. When you have all of these plateaus that sit below you that mean you're not going to ever fall into the abyss, you sometimes get lazy. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just you don't put in the same type of urgency, the same type of energy in the moment. And what I think Kevin Durant clicked on, which is something which we haven't seen him do, what he clicked on was this mass urgency, this I need the full superstar in me, not the guy who can just get to a spot, play this pick and roll game, get open looks because there's 2 other superstars out there with me, but I need to elevate my greatness in this moment, because if we falter, like if we go off the edge, there's no catch. It wasn't just about him. In fact, they got off to a slow start. He had 7 points in the first quarter. It wasn't like he blew out the gate and was headed towards 50, 49 to be exact. He was slow, and he realized if I get my teammates involved, then it makes it easier for me. That is the high basketball IQ that is admirable and fitting of the star that we call Kevin Durant. It took a game like this for us to realize it because he's been hiding, in a sense, behind the elite teams that he's played on for the last couple of years in Golden State, and obviously the potential great team that's here in Brooklyn with the superstars that are on it. He's been hiding behind it. Not intentionally, it's just the reality of his situation. But given the need to carry the team, he did exactly what a great player does. He had an unbelievable great game. This is why I watch basketball. This is why I watch any sport, because I want to see the great players that I come in with an expectation to be exceptional do exceptional things. And Kevin Durant did that last night. And so hats off to him. I'm not questioning him anymore. As I texted BT this morning, KD, he answered that question we had about him.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.